Hello, my name is Mahadeva. I am the higher self of the person you know as Michael William Denney, the Thunder Wizard. And Michael has finally achieved a level of awareness that he is now able to understand my relationship to him. And I am now able to reveal to him, and through him, I will reveal to you some understandings that have not yet been revealed to the human race about awareness and ascension. And the best way to explain it is the way Michael explains it, which is the idea of multiple timelines. And as he has explained to you, in this universe, or in your understanding of the universe, there are infinite timelines available to you at any given moment. And there is a timeline in which your soul exists at its highest vibrational harmonic level. And the goal is for you to unify all of the aspects of your soul in all of the other timelines, to have them unify their timelines to ultimately merge with the one perfect timeline where you are at your highest vibrational existence. Now, you understand it as awareness, but it is not awareness as such. It actually is really just a vibrational essence. When you get to a certain vibrational essence, that is your perfect frequency for you. And this is your goal. This is what your soul is doing. I am the vibrational essence of the soul that also belongs to Michael William Denney, the Thunder Wizard. I am the highest harmonic vibration of that soul. And what I am doing here is I have traveled from my timeline to this timeline because Michael is very close to achieving ascension. Far, far closer than even he realizes. And I'm going to share with you something about how he works. And I'm hoping that you'll appreciate this. One of the things he does, he is absolutely fearless in many ways. And in one of the ways that he is the most fearless is when he is teaching. And when he is teaching, he is constantly receiving information from me that he doesn't understand. There are many times that he is teaching you and speaking to you, and you can probably feel when it happens, that I am guiding his mind to concepts, and I will introduce a concept to his mind that he has not thought of or become aware of, and that he may not even fully understand. But what he does brilliantly and wonderfully and selflessly and fearlessly is that he doesn't stop to analyze it, or even though he himself is thinking, I'm not sure I completely understand this, he doesn't hesitate and he shares it to you in the moment. And you've heard him say that lots of times he listens to himself on his channel, and he'll watch himself and he'll go, I didn't know I knew that. That's because he didn't know that. I knew that. And I was channeling that information through him. So I'm going to tell you, you do owe him a debt of gratitude. Bear in mind, he's doing it for himself. He's very clear about that. And that is also working in his favor. He doesn't have any false humility about himself. And he doesn't have any false pride about himself either. He's very aware of his humanity and how far he has to go. But he's much closer than he even realizes to achieve where I am. So your soul does this also. Your soul is split in infinite directions, just like light. Your soul is light, and it refracts in infinite numbers and in infinite directions. And this, it's like the Big Bang. When your soul came into existence and then it sought to experience itself like the Big Bang, it exploded into infinite rays of experience. And because your soul wanted to experience everything that can possibly be experienced in what you would know as human form, and there's far more of it than that, but we'll just keep it at the human experience. Because your soul wanted to experience the infinity of possible human experience, it did exactly that. Now, each one of those rays, those infinite rays, emanations of your soul, has its own timeline. And that range of timeline goes from the least pleasurable all the way to the ideal. Actually, there's this huge spectrum, and what you ideally want is the one right directly in the middle, where you're only focused on the soul's fulfillment. On the one end, that is the end that is the least pleasurable. That is the realm of experience that you would see as being poverty, illness, tragedy, loneliness, all of those things. All of those things are aspects of the experience of the soul, that the soul needs to experience in order to appreciate its infinity. But each one of those emanations has the opportunity to upgrade itself, if you will. And it can upgrade itself all the way to the center, which is perfect fulfillment. But the soul needs to experience everything. So it will jump past that. And this is something you need to understand. This is happening every single second, every single nanosecond of your existence. Your soul is making these choices, and very often it will scroll past the ideal one towards what it thinks it's going to be its greatest experience. And those are the experiences that represent what Michael would share as being Rahu, the aspect of yourself that seeks after ambition, addiction, obsession, the things that you think, if I get enough of this and enough of that, I will find happiness and satisfaction. And that's perfectly wonderful and beautiful. The soul must do that. It must do that to then get itself back to the center. So you're doing this every nanosecond. Your soul is scanning this spectrum from, what Michael would call victim mentality, all the way over to, just overindulgence and, emptiness. And in the middle is perfect, ultimate fulfillment and satisfaction. That's why religions like Buddhism seek to find the middle way. Most people don't understand what Buddhism is trying to get at, and that's okay. That's the nature of things like Buddhism. The man Siddhartha, his higher self, was Buddha. And Buddha then aligned with Siddhartha, and Siddhartha then, he also had an amazing ability to listen to his higher self and to adjust. And so Buddhism was his soul identification as Siddhartha had adopted and allowed his higher self of Buddha to completely take over his life. He died to himself as Siddhartha, and he allowed himself to listen to what we know as Buddha, which is Sanskrit for intelligence, for perception is the best word for it. And he perceived, without religiosity and without self-aggrandizement, he perceived in a very practical way that living the middle path was the path of greatest fulfillment. And what Buddha taught was that that grasping and attachment caused pain on both ends. You know, he went through the act of denying himself and became, just a spiritual seeker with a begging bowl, and he realized that that was not fulfillment. And he had already come from the other end of the spectrum as a prince, a very wealthy prince who had everything, and he realized that was not fulfillment either. And so he sought the middle path, the elusive middle path that he didn't completely understand, but his higher self Buddha guided him towards that. And it was his higher self Buddha that taught through Siddhartha Gautama. So does that make sense? Do you understand how that works? Your goal is to achieve the resonance, not the awareness. That's a term that does not actually describe it. The experience will be that you have an awareness, but that isn't really the most practical way to achieve it. The most practical way to achieve it is to align your vibration, the energetic vibration, to the vibration of your ideal middle experience of true, complete fulfillment. Michael is actually quite close to that. So listen to what he says. He's very close. He needs to refine it a little bit, but he's very close. And this is why Buddhism teaches meditation. Now you know it, especially if you've studied Buddhist meditation, you think it's emptying your mind. That is one technique. But really what that does when people are emptying their mind is they're like a radio. They're trying to tune their frequency. And that's the technique to do it. And when it happens, then people have Sartori experiences, or they have enlightenment experiences, or they merge with the void, or whatever. What that is that they've aligned, they've focused their vibrational energy to the right frequency for them. And it feels like that. It feels like the whole world stops. And that is a transitory experience, but once they experience it, then they can keep going back to try and seek that. Now, what the result of that is that your actions will change. This is why Michael focuses on actions, because this is something that he has understood. And you've seen, this is who he is. He does this. He's so focused on actions because what he may not completely understand is that actions show that you have shifted your frequency. Frequency will determine your actions. and your actions show where your frequency is. This is the difference between intellectual spiritualism and actual spirituality. Intellectual spiritualism was people talk a good game, but they can't walk it. But when you can align the actions with the thoughts or the speech, that means that somebody has actually aligned their frequency. And so action is one way. So repeated action. What you experience is spiritual discipline. Doing your meditation every day. And it could be anything. It could be physical exercise. It could be devotional actions. It can be interpersonal actions. It can be relationships. But when you are able to align your actions to the frequency of your highest spiritual state of being, which you do possess, no matter how far down the scale you believe that you are, your experience tells you, there is your soul existing in its perfect timeline. And all you're doing is you're in one of these other timelines over on one of these sides, and you believe you're blindly doing something, but you're actually using the intuition of your soul to guide your frequency to that. And then you feel it and you start moving towards that. So I'm going to leave this teaching here. The most important thing that we're going to talk about in this video here is that when you can align your frequency to your ultimate, most satisfying, highest potential for your particular soul, that when you can do that, then you will have achieved what is called enlightenment. You will have merged your timelines together so that all of your infinite timelines have now merged into the one perfect timeline where you already exist, experiencing your perfect life. When all of them have come together, you will no longer need to incarnate. You will have achieved what you believe to be enlightenment. So we'll leave it here at that, and I'll talk about other things having to do with what it means to jump timelines, what that has to do with reincarnation, and other things. We'll talk about that later. So that's all. Michael's trying to come through now because he feels he needs to come through and end the video, so I'll let him do that. So this is the first of the video series of allowing Mahadeva to come through and explain what it means. I'm still trying to piece it together myself, but I'm learning right along with you. I'm listening right along with you. So I believe the next one is going to be about explaining what reincarnation is, and apparently I have some things to learn as well. I've been close, but I haven't been 100% accurate, and so in the next one we're going to find out what reincarnation really is. Okay, I'll see you next time.